Yo, what's going on, guys? It's time for another reaction video, and this time I'm not doing a Harry Mack reaction video. I'm doing something a little different. This one is one language, 3 accents, and it is US, UK, and Australia. I believe the premise of this video is going to be that they're going to show a photo or an image on the screen, and then they have a person from each of those countries call out what what word they use for that item. I believe that's what it is. I saw a different video from this channel of a similar process. So yeah, let's go ahead and check it out.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to English with Lucy. I have got such a treat for you today. I've been excited about this for such a long time. I am shortly going to welcome 2 lovely guests who have generously given their time to help teach you the differences between Australian English, American English, and British English. This is going to be a 2-part series. Today we are going to focus on vocabulary, and then in the next part of the video we are focusing on pronunciation. We may all speak the same language, English, but we have very different accents and we speak with different vocabularies. So this video...
That could be said just here in the US alone, depending on what part of the country you're in. We might have different words for different things like soft drink, soda, pop. Some places, a lot in the South, we just call every soda a Coke. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what this is all about.
Video is perfect for improving your vocabulary, but if you want to improve your pronunciation and your listening skills even further, then I highly recommend the special method of combining reading books whilst listening to their audiobook counterpart on Audible. This is how you use the method. Take a book that you have already read in English, or a book that you would like to read in English. I've got plenty of recommendations down below in the description box, and read that book whilst listening to the audiobook version on Audible. Reading alone will not help you with your pronunciation because English isn't a strictly phonetic language. The way a word is written in English may not give you much indication at all as to how it's pronounced in English. But if you listen to a word at the same time as reading it, your brain will start making connections. And the next time you hear that word, you'll know exactly how it's spelt. And the next time you see that word written down, you'll know exactly how it's pronounced. It is such an effective method, and the best part is you can get 1 free audiobook. That's a 30-day free trial on Audible. All you've got to do is click on the link in the description box and sign up. I've got loads of recommendations down there for you. Right.
I'll have the video link to this original video on my video, so if you want to go get her audio book discount, you can go check that out on her channel.
Let's get on with the lesson and welcome our guests. Firstly, I would like to welcome Emma to the channel.
Hey there, I'm Emma from the English YouTube channel, coming at you from Perth in Western Australia.
And we also have Vanessa.
Hi, I'm Vanessa and I live in North Carolina in the US. I run the YouTube channel Speak English with Vanessa.
It's so lovely to have Emma and Vanessa on the channel. I've known Emma for a very, very long time, 4 years now, and I've recently got to know Vanessa. Both of them have fantastic YouTube channels, and all of their information is in the description box if you want to follow them. So I have got some pictures, and Vanessa, Emma, and I are going to tell you how we would say what's in these pictures in our own country. You might be surprised at some of the answers. Okay, so let's start with this one.
In the US, these are chips, 100% just chips.
I can't believe you started with this one. These are chips.
We call these crisps. Crisps.
The other word that you use, Lucy, is the most complicated word in the English language to say. So let's just call them chips and move along.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. Crisps is a notoriously difficult word for learners of English. It's the sound at the end, crisps. You'll find a lot of people mispronouncing them as crips, when they should be crisps. So here is the next one, and it gets even more complicated because in the UK, we call these chips. So in the US, the cold version is chips, and in the UK, the hot version is chips. Let's see what Vanessa has to say about this. What does she call them?
These are French fries. I know that they're not really French, but we still call them French fries, or you can just say fries by themselves.
The next one's chips as well, right? They're hot chips.
Hot chips! Oh my God. Hot chips.
It doesn't really matter if they're hot or cold here because there are some pubs and things like that where you can get chips, like the chips we have here in the US, but they just freshly fried them. So it'll be like potato chips fresh out of the grease. And so those would be considered hot chips, but they're still just chips. Chips being like thinly sliced, and then French fries being, you know, shoestring style, or we've got a lot of different styles of French fries. But they're more potatoey, more consistency. That would be fries, and then something that's super thin and crunchy would be chips. That's how we kind of differentiate them here.
Australians just call everything chips then. It is worth noting that if you go to England and you order fries or French fries, we know exactly what you mean. Okay, next we have this one.
We call these cookies, or chocolate chip cookies specifically.
Okay, they are biscuits. Don't really hear people saying cookie.
Yes. 2 against 1. These for us are biscuits as well. And we would use cookie to refer to an American style, normally chocolate chip cookie. However, if you use the word biscuit in the United States, you might get something that you are not expecting. Vanessa has more on this.
If you asked someone, do you have any biscuits, or I want a biscuit, they would not give you this. Instead, they'd give you a savory, kind of fluffy type piece of bread. A biscuit is savory, and a cookie is sweet.
I was gonna interrupt a minute ago and mention, you know, what biscuits are here, but she actually said it perfectly.
So there we have it. If you fancy something sweet with your coffee in America, don't ask for a biscuit. You will be bitterly disappointed. Okay, Vanessa got very passionate about this next one. Very passionate. Here is the picture. Vanessa seems to think that she knows the absolute correct answer. And she's even done research. I did not expect Emma and Vanessa to get books out for this video.
I have the proof that my answer is the most correct because you can see my 2-year-old son is obsessed with trucks. We have so many truck books. Let me read to you. What truck do you need? A tractor trailer. So this is also what I would call it, a tractor trailer. I might call it a semi.
All right, that
Tractor trailer, that could be a technical term possibly, but that's not what the average American would call that, at least not anybody I know. We would call that a semi truck, an 18-wheeler, a box truck, a big rig, a shipping truck. I mean, any of those. I think tractor trailer would probably be like bottom of the list, if it even made the list. I don't really know anybody that refers to that as a tractor trailer. Maybe the trailer part of it, but when you use the word tractor, you know, I think more of cranes and tractors, you know, like digging vehicles, not just towing vehicles. Let me know what you guys think in the comments if I'm wrong on that, or what y'all call it if you're here in the US.
yellow thing is a truck.
So Vanessa thinks it's a tractor trailer, and she's very, very sure about it.
In all of these books, they call it a tractor trailer. So we're gonna go with that one.
That really tickled me.
Again, I disagree with that one completely.
Emma thinks it's a truck. In the UK, we would call this a lorry. A lorry.
It's a truck.
Whatever, Emma, it's a lorry. Okay, what about this next one? what have the women got up here?
These girls all have bangs.
We would definitely say fringe. Bangs is probably becoming more popular, especially colloquially.
So in the UK, we definitely call this a fringe. And when I started hearing the word bangs in movies and things like that, I was really genuinely confused.
I've always known them as bangs here in the US. I think that's probably the most common term here. I have heard fringe a little bit in more recent years, but I think it's just from watching some British programming and Australian programming on Netflix that I started picking up the other term. But yeah, the most common one here in the US is probably bangs.
Okay, what about this next one?
This is candy.
They are lollies. Lollies.
Lollies, that is so cute. So in British English, these are sweets. Or sometimes if you're talking to a child, they might call them sweeties. Lollies for us are sweets on a stick. Right, what about this next one?
This is a swimsuit. Some people might call it a bathing suit. You can also call this a one piece.
Okay, this one's really funny. In Melbourne, where I am from, it's really common to call them togs. But no one else in Australia really calls them togs. They call it swimmers. In Sydney, they call them cozies or costumes. But generally, it's swimmers or bathers. Oh gosh, there's another one. Bathers or swimmers.
Oh my word, I did not expect to receive so many different ways of saying swimming costume. This for us is a swimming costume. We can also say one piece, and we can also shorten it down to cosy. I remember my mum saying get your cosy on before my swimming lessons when I was a child, but that's quite a childish thing.
Swimming costume just sounds so long and kind of formal, I guess you could say. When I think of costumes, I think of like Halloween or dressing up, or you're going to be in a play or a costume, just anything that's not something you would wear normal or in public or whatever. Well, I guess you would wear costumes in public for like Halloween, but yeah, costume just sounds weird. And then togs, I only recently heard about togs within the last few years. One of the YouTube channels, like van life, RV life channels I watch, is the first time I heard togs, and I had no clue what they were talking about. Nor cozies. I've never heard of cozies until now. So it's interesting that like one item, could have collectively like 10 different names.
Okay, what about this next one?
This is the forest.
That is definitely a forest.
No, it's the woods. Woods, plural. This is definitely the woods. I mean, in general, we say the woods. Forest implies a huge, huge area of trees, of woodland.
I'm in Houston, and we don't have gigantic forests. Like when I think of a forest, I think of like Muir Woods in California, just north of San Francisco, with like 200-foot tall trees and just endless forest. When we have something in Houston area, I would more personally refer to it as a wooded area or the woods. So yeah, forest, I think of just like national parks, like really grand scale in the mountains for forest.
The wood sounds kind of like something you might hear in an old-fashioned fairy tale.
Yeah, well, Vanessa, sometimes life in England is like an old-fashioned fairy tale.
And that just shows you how much of a difference from, I'm in Texas, southern Texas, and she's in, I think she said North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. And just here in the U.S., how big of a difference that might be. I have a feeling that North Carolina, I've never been there, but I have a feeling that it's a lot more wooded than it is here. So it would be probably more common to call it a forest there.
I think a lot of Americans have this vision of England as a place with so much culture and history, like a fairy tale, and then they come over and they are just so disappointed. Okay, what about...
Fun fact, my grandmother on my mom's side is from England, and she was half British and half Irish. Her father was from Ireland and her mother was from England. I believe my grandmother grew up in Corby, England. So if you're familiar with Corby, let me know in the comments. I would like to go visit there one day, but I've never been.
About this next one.
This is a bathroom. You might say it's a restroom, but it would be really unusual to call a place that actually has a bathtub a restroom. Usually we use the term restroom for public places.
That room is a bathroom? Yeah, it's a bathroom.
Okay, so Vanessa touched on restroom and bathroom. Now, we would never use the word restroom in British English. If we are in a public place and we are looking for a bathroom, we would say toilet. However, if there is a bath there, like a bathtub, then yes, we might say bathroom as well. But we would ask, where's the toilet?
If you say, where's the toilet? Most people in the US would just say, it's in the bathroom.
I mean, she's not wrong.
I have to agree with her on that one. It's funny that in England y'all would say toilet just because it seems like everything there is so much more formal, and using the term toilet just seems a lot less formal and just straight to the point, I guess, you know, of the actual toilet within the restroom. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's all relative. It makes sense. But yeah, I'm surprised. I would have thought bathroom, or I believe there's a term called loo or something like that. The loo. I could be wrong. I don't know.
The toilet is in the bathroom. There is also a slang word which I use a lot, which is the loo.
Oh, there we
Where's
go.
the loo? I went to the States for a business trip and I asked people where the loo was, and they were utterly confused. The loo? What's the loo?
I think I know of the loo possibly from my grandmother, but I think honestly more of just British television that I've seen over the years, and just I don't know. I've just known that one for, it seems like a pretty long time. I've been familiar with loo for most of my life.
All right, let's move on to the next.
This is an apartment,
This is mostly called an apartment.
but we would never say flat.
Okay, so in British English, this is a flat. We have a block of flats. I've lived in many flats in my life. We don't use the word apartment. Okay, the next one.
So real quickly, I think that's a little bit different regionally throughout the U.S. And I'm not saying that Andrea is wrong on this because it could very well be an apartment. But to me, apartments are more maybe 3 to 5 stories at max. And each unit only has a single floor, and they're clustered really closely together. And that would be kind of like an apartment, and they could be anywhere from 1 bedrooms to 3 to maybe 4 bedrooms on some of them. But we also have high rises, and the one that was in the picture, let me roll it back a little. That right there, that looks more like it's probably a high rise to me. So that would be more of like a loft, or it could be a high rise or a condominium, but more so probably like a loft style, or you might say a loft apartment. But yeah, apartments to me, 3 to 5 stories. Anything that goes over that would be up to about 12 to 15 stories, I believe, is a mid-rise, and then anything over 12 to 15 stories and up, so you know, upwards of like 40 or 50 stories would probably be a high-rise. I live in downtown Houston. I live in a mid-rise, but there are residential places here that are, I think the tallest one down here is about 40 stories, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, long explanation, but just thought it was worth mentioning. Let me fast forward it back to where, and this looks like to me a grocery store.
Options. Good old Emma.
This is a grocery store.
I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at in that image, but it could be a trolley.
My apologies,
It
I'm
could
about to
be
sneeze,
an-
guys. Maybe not.
Aisle, or it could be a supermarket.
Excuse me.
Hey, bingo. It's a supermarket for us as well. Or we call it the shops. I'm going to the supermarket, I'm going to the shops. The shops is more general. It could mean any type of shop. We would never say grocery store. We might, however, say grocers. The grocers. This is a shop that just sells fruits and vegetables.
I think we would say most commonly is probably grocery store. You might say supermarket here, or even the market possibly. And then I can't remember the Australian girl's name, but she referred to the cart as a trolley, and we would probably call that a grocery cart here, or a shopping cart. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in England it would also potentially be called a trolley or a buggy, but I could be wrong. And I don't know if Lucy said that or not because I was sneezing. Sorry.
All right, next one.
This is a comforter.
Oh my God, how weird is the word comforter? That's weird. In Australia, that's called a doona.
I love that Emma is saying that the word comforter is weird. And then she goes to say that in Australia it's a doona. That's weirder, Emma. So in British English, this is a duvet, which apparently Vanessa finds weird. See, we all find each other weird.
I didn't know what a duvet was. Maybe I'm very sheltered, but I didn't know what a duvet was until I visited Europe. We just do not have those in the US.
Okay, I feel there's going to be a lot of conflict about this next.
All right, so I'm going to speak on this one a minute. To me, it could be a comforter, but it could also be a bedspread. It depends. Bedspreads are usually the ones that are a little bit more decorative. They would go on the outer side of the bed. You might sleep under it, but there'd be sheets in between it. And a comforter might be something you put more directly on yourself. A duvet, at least here in the US, a duvet is essentially a comforter, but it has a giant sheet type thing that you put over it that could, again, be decorative. And it either might zip at the bottom or button or snap or Velcro at the bottom. So you can change the outside of it and the comforter fits within it. And that's what we refer to as a duvet here. A doona I've never heard in my life. So that one's pretty funny.
Next one.
These are bell peppers.
Okay, they're capsicums. Red, green, yellow capsicums.
No, they're just plain old peppers. Red peppers, green peppers, and yellow peppers. Capsicum, what? This isn't Latin, this is English.
I've never heard of capsicums. I think Andrea hit it on the head. Here in the US, we would refer to those as bell peppers because those are the larger ones that are maybe about the size of an apple or an orange. When you think peppers, you might think of smaller ones like a jalapeno pepper, a serrano pepper, a ghost pepper. The smaller ones. We have a huge variety of peppers in the US, and I think that's because it's very common to have a lot of spicy foods in the US. And I could be wrong, but I think in England there's not as much overly spicy food. So maybe there's a smaller selection of peppers. I don't know. But we would definitely call them bell peppers to identify that specific style of pepper. If you told somebody to go to the store and get peppers, they'd be like, which ones? There's like 20 to choose from. Oh, we also have banana peppers.
Okay, another one that's going to cause a bit of conflict.
These are rain boots. And also the jacket that goes with it is a raincoat or a rain jacket. I guess in the US we like really clear, straightforward names for items like this. Rain boots. What's it for? It's for the rain. It's very clear. Boots for the rain.
I mean, she's not wrong, is she? American English is sometimes more simplified than British English, and this is no bad thing, really. Let's see what Emma has to say.
When it's muddy and rainy, I would put my gumboots on to walk around in the wet.
Yeah, I mean, we never say gumboots. I think I've heard my grandma say it, so it might be quite an old-fashioned thing. In British English, we say wellies or welly boots. Are you ready for this next one?
Never heard of wellies. I could see where the reference gumboots come from because I guess the sole is like gummy. I do agree with Andrea on rain boots, and some people might also call them like mud boots as well. And I believe people who pour concrete would typically wear these or something very similar to it, but I wouldn't really call them concrete boots. I still think they're rain boots or mud boots.
Are you ready? Because what Australians call these is frankly shocking. Let's hear from Vanessa first.
These are flip-flops.
Yeah, These are flip-flops, Emma. What do you call them?
When we go to the beach in Australia, we wear our thongs. Our thongs. It's plural, and we're talking about the shoes on our feet. They're our thongs.
I mean, I could see how it would be called a thong, but a thong here, at least in the US, is basically butt floss. It's a G-string or a T-back or a string that goes between your butt cheeks. And it's a bathing suit or underwear. If you're down south in the US, again, I'm in Texas, and if you're around a lot of people, my father is Cuban, but and it's not really as much of a Cuban term as more of a South American or a Mexican American term is chancla. It's the Spanish term for flip-flop is chancla, and if you disrespect your mother in the Mexican culture, there's a good chance she'll chunk it at you. You'll get hit in the head with the chancla.
So I have to explain to you what a thong is in British English and American English. A thong is like a G-string. It's a type of underwear where there is just one string at the back instead of more fabric. If Emma said to me, "Can I borrow some thongs?" I would probably lend her some, but I'd be a bit concerned. Okay, next one. Where would you go to fill up your car?
This is a gas station where you put gas into your car.
So when I fill up my car, I fill it up at the petrol station.
Good. I'm with Emma again on this one. She's redeeming herself after the thong situation. Yes, we also call this a petrol station. The fuel that we put into our car is petrol. I spent much of my childhood confused, but I was especially confused by the fact that Americans put gas into their car, because I thought, well, petrol's a liquid. Turns out it's just short for gasoline. Now the next one's quite interesting.
It's not as common, but we also might say a fuel station and fuel up, gas up, but I think the most common one is gas up at the gas station.
I want to know what they call a shop that only sells alcohol. And this is interesting because in America, their attitude towards alcohol is slightly different. We're very open, maybe too open to alcohol in the UK and Australia, but alcohol is more controlled by the government and the states in the United States.
This is an ABC store, which I just learned because I just looked it up. It stands for Alcohol Beverage Controlled State. So this is a store that sells only alcohol. And that last word, state, is because it is run by the state or run by the government.
Now let's see what Emma calls it.
Never in my life have I ever heard of it referred to as an ABC store. Never once. We would probably call that a liquor store. Maybe the alcohol store, but probably most commonly the liquor store. And it depends because beer and wine, at least in Texas, because it varies by state, beer and wine can be sold in the grocery store. So you might just go get beer or wine in the grocery store. But if you're specifically looking for liquor, more so like vodkas, rums, tequilas, whiskeys, anything like that, that would be liquor, and that would be at the liquor store. I've never heard of the ABC store in my life. Never have ever heard that reference, period. So I'm gonna have to disagree with her on that one. I don't know where that came from.
Because I have heard that Australians have some fun names for places like these.
When I go and get a bottle of wine, I go to the bottle shop, which in Australia we also call the bottle-o.
Bottle-o, love it. It would sound so stupid in a British accent. I'm just going to the bottle-o. Do you need anything? Bottle-o. Yeah, it only works really when you pronounce your T's as D. Bottle-o. In British English, we call this an off license. An off license.
Huh.
Okay.
Actually, real quick to note too, it's not necessarily that we're not as open to alcohol and liquor here. The main difference is you have to be 21 or older to drink here in the US and to purchase alcohol. And that's about the extent of the control goes. And aside from that, don't drink and drive and the typical stuff. But I would say drinking here in the US is pretty common. If there's get-togethers, gatherings, barbecues, parties, family events, weddings, there's a good chance there's going to be alcohol at pretty much any of those. Now, it might vary, depending on certain people. They may opt out of having it, but it's pretty common to have that here. And then the nightlife too. Going to a bar or club, or maybe I might say disco, I don't know. There's going to be drinking there. If there's a football game on and people are together and they're watching a football game, there's going to be drinking. So drinking is pretty prevalent throughout the US. It's just that it's controlled in where it's sold.
Hey, what about this next one? I feel like I'm going to get ganged up on here.
These are pants.
Pants. Old people might call them trousers.
Well, excuse me, I must be very old then, because these are hands down trousers. They are trousers. We do use the word pants to refer to underpants. Oh, because they go under your pants. Yeah, maybe they are right. My whole life has been a lie. Underpants, because they go under your pants. Ooh, under trousers. Doesn't work, does it? Well, anyway, these are trousers. And I'm not old, Emma. Yet. Now, what do we call this? The little walking space beside a road.
This is a sidewalk.
The concrete beside the road where people walk in Australia is called a footpath.
Interesting. We don't say either of these. We say pavement. Now, we would never say sidewalk. We do say footpath, but a footpath is normally not beside a road. A pavement is just beside a road and a footpath is anywhere else. Okay.
I agree, sidewalk would be the go-to term here. And then since footpath was mentioned, footpath to me would be more going back to the terms of the woods and a forest. That might be more of a path or a trail that you would go through a wooded area. That would be more of like a footpath. They might use footpath a little bit here and there, but for the most part here in the US, it's a sidewalk.
Okay, another car-related one. What do we call this?
This is a highway, or you could call it an interstate.
A highway or maybe a freeway in Australia.
Ooh, we don't say either of these either. We never say highway in British English. Interstate, well, we don't have states, so that doesn't work either. Freeway, no. Freeway sounds dangerous. It sounds like you can do whatever you want. You're just free to drive however you like. Thank you so much to Emma and Vanessa for coming on this channel.
Lucy never said what she calls it. We would say freeway, highway, or interstate, all three. Freeway is pretty common here in the Houston area. Interstate, fun fact about that if you're not in the US, the term is called interstate because it's a road that might connect from one state to another. For some reason, there's one in Hawaii that is labeled as an interstate, and we know there's no road that leads across all that water to another piece of land in the US for it to be called an interstate. So I think that's kind of a funny one. But yeah, she didn't say what they call it in England, right?
It's dangerous. It sounds like you can do whatever you want. You're just free to drive however you like. Thank you so much to Emma and Vanessa for coming on this channel and helping me to make this video. As I said before, I've left all of their information in the description box. Make sure you watch the other video in this too.
All right, we'll wrap it up right there. I'm curious to know if you guys are in the US, and let me know what you think about some of the things I said versus what Andrea said. Or if there's other things that you use here in the US that maybe I didn't mention. And if you're in another country, let me know what country you're in and perhaps what you might call some of these things. I think this is kind of fun. You might have to make reference as to which one that you're talking about so that I can make sure I know what you're referring to. But yeah, comment below. Tell me what you would potentially call some of these things. And if if you agree with me on most of these or not, or if you agree more with Andrea. Curious to know. If you're new to my channel and you like this video, I have tons of reaction videos. I have other content, travel content, photography stuff. But right now I'm pretty much mostly doing reactions and also my podcast too. So if you like this type of content, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.